Namaste. So some ask why I wrote You'll Know What You Need to Know When You Need to Know It. Well, I wrote this book because of what happened to me during an out-of-body experience. Now, I can't say it was a normal night because it wasn't. It wasn't even a normal day. It wasn't even a normal week, a normal month, or a normal year, because my life was unraveling quickly. And people were constantly approaching me. They were telling me they had a message from God for me. I have an anointing on my life, a calling on my life. This is what they told me. And let me say this. I'm not saying I'm special. I'm saying if I am, we all are, because we all have a calling. We are all anointed to do something, to be something. We're all here for a purpose, to sing, to write, to act, to dance, to construct, to shift consciousness, to lead, to do whatever is calling our soul. I believe we come into this life with that knowing, that feeling, that attraction to that particular thing, to be, to do, to have. Some are very good at making money, at being innovative, creating businesses. See, this is the thing. We all have gifts. We all have talents, natural inclinations. So anyway, back to my astral projection. I was indeed exhausted, right? Ready to rest. As I began slipping into slumber, I could feel a pulsating energy from head to toe, and just traveling up and down as if I were like being beamed up, like in Star Trek, right? Like beam me up, Scotty. So, but anyway, although I've been astral projecting, expanding, traveling since being a child, which by the way, is something we all do, but may not always recall it, because we'll pass it off as a dream, but this time was very unique. So as usual, my consciousness expanded beyond my physical form, what is classically known as an out-of-body experience. But this was, anyway, this is very different. So anyway, in operating in a non-physical dimension of awareness, I was fully conscious, and I was experiencing myself as pure light. And there I was, levitated face to face with a being of light. She felt familiar, and I say she because I now refer to that beautiful, calming, loving being as joy. Because what flowed through me as I was present in her energy, it was just beautiful. So anyway, we began communication, which was telepathic, direct mind-to-mind transmission, pure knowing, transferred instantly with question and answer packaged as one. So it indeed was a teaching moment, a cosmic teaching, as Bashar stated. I asked Bashar, I asked him in a question and answer session, and he confirmed that that was indeed my spirit guide. And again, I knew this. And something deep in me recognized it as true, even before I could articulate it was. And as this teaching came to an end, I began to feel like magnetically pulled, descending to my physical form, back into physical density. And as I was crossing that threshold, what I had just been taught began to fade, like a veil was closing, separating me from that memory, and it was dissolving. You know, like a memory you're trying to hold, but it just dissolves, right? So the knowing was there, and then it wasn't. And in that exact moment, I anxiously cried out, I'm forgetting everything. And in that same beautiful moment, joy subtly, as she always does, whispered, you will know everything you need to know when you need to know it. And at first it felt like I was being kept from something secretive, like, anyway. But here is what living on this path has actually taught me. I was given a glimpse of what could be known. And it felt amazing, magical even, not in a fantasy sort of way, but rather a soothing, loving way. But in this density, this physical world, this knowing isn't being handed to me randomly, and not at all at once. That would be too much to carry. So I've learned I have to work for it, to work through it, through experience, viscerally, through perceived failures, through learning to trust what I knew was true long before I could prove it. So the understanding, right, it comes in layers, and I revealed only at the moments I am genuinely capable of integrating is when it comes, not a moment before. And that's not a limitation, that's design. Wisdom isn't downloaded, it's earned through experience. And that experience initiated what the mythologist Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey. Campbell studied the myths, stories, and spiritual traditions of cultures across the entire span of human history, and found the same pattern everywhere. A person receives a call. Something inside them recognizes there is more truth, more depth, more of themselves waiting to be discovered. They leave the familiar. They face trials that strip away what is false. They're transformed. And they return carrying something real to offer. That's not a a story about ancient heroes. That's a map of inner transformation. And it's been the map I've been walking courageously with conviction, which again, I had to earn through doing the work. But most people never take this journey, and it's worth being honest about why. Think about it. Your life right now. Are you living it authentically? Are you satisfied with the way it's unfolding, your choices, where you live, who you're with, why you're with them? And these questions are not to confuse you, but rather inspire truth. Are you investing in what is meaningful to you, honestly? Why not? What about your calling, your anointing? What do you really want? Over time, that tension doesn't stay quiet. It shows up as anxiety, numbness, resentment. You know, that specific kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. And that's not weakness. That's the cost of living out of alignment with who you actually are. And why does it happen? Because most people are conditioned early and repeatedly to prioritize belonging over truth, to be acceptable over authentic. The message absorbed is who you are might not be enough. So become something that is. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being truly seen and found lacking. So people shape themselves around expectations that were never theirs to carry. Abraham Maslow mapped this precisely in his hierarchy of needs, a framework that moves from survival at the base up through safety, belonging, and esteem to what he called self-actualization at the top. Self-actualization is the full expression of who you truly are, your potential realized. But Maslow observed that the majority of people never reach it. And not because they can't, because the needs below it, safety, belonging, approval, are so powerful that most people stop there and believe it to be enough. Not always because they truly believe it, but rather because of what it takes to go beyond that. The hero's journey is the decision to go beyond that. This is what I'm doing here. Some do this younger, older, doesn't matter when. It's how and why. It is in the most precise sense the path to self-actualization. And it costs something. It costs the false version of you that everyone else got comfortable with. Giving that up. And in the midst of it, some of those people may walk away from the new version of you. And that's okay. That's why most people don't do it. And that's exactly why it matters. The extraterrestrial Bashar, who is channeled by Darryl Anka, distills this into what he calls the formula. Act on your excitement, your truth. Do whatever is most exciting, aligned within you, in the moment, to the best of your ability. Take it as far as you can. Take action until you cannot take it any further. No expectation or insistence. Act with absolutely no insistence, no assumption or expectation of what the outcome should be. Remain in a positive state. Choose to stay positive regardless of what happens or what manifests. Remember, your higher mind knows more than your mask, more than your lower mind. So investigate your beliefs, constantly monitor and replace fear-based or unpreferred beliefs with those that align with your preferred self. So the core principle of the former are basically this: purpose. The purpose is to be your true self, which is easiest to achieve by acting on your highest joy. Reality. Reality is a reflection of your state of being, mirroring your inner beliefs and vibrations. Application. It is described as a daily practice designed to transform life by shifting to a preferred, higher vibrational reality. And that's it. Not strategize it, not wait until it makes logical sense, not monetize it first. Follow what genuinely resonates in this moment with what's in front of you, and release that kung fu grip and allow it to unfold. And Bashar was once asked how he became so popular and widely known. He said, basically, he followed what excited him most: the exploration of communication and contact between intelligences. And then he said something I'll never forget. It drives me. He said he would still do exactly what he is being called to do, regardless of whether he is popular or not. Because it isn't something he does, it's who he is. naturally, period. And being who he is his purpose. It's everyone's purpose, being you to the best of your ability. That's the only place to speak from. So the writing my books, my coaching, my exploration of consciousness, shadow work, this is me following formula. Doing what I am genuinely called to do with full commitment and conviction. And releasing my grip on how it unfolds. Not content, not niche, not brand, me. And it took time and work for me to get right here where I am, to maintain, to trust, to being here now, simply because this is who I am. Who I've always been since childhood, a teacher, a healer, a leader, an allower. And now that I know for sure, I'm thriving in this space, regardless of what others believe I should be or do or how to do or and have. I've realized that the full map of who and what we need or want to know is not given all at once. At least it wasn't for me. I chose to take this hero's journey to understand it. As it said, experience is the best teacher, and every piece of real wisdom I carry came through experience, not always through revelation. Life doesn't always give you everything up front. It gives you the next true step, exactly the moment you're ready to receive it and understand it. The only question that remains is the one I'll leave you with. Are you willing to trust the path that's already unfolding for you? Are you willing to take your hero's journey and fulfill your calling? That's it. Namaste.